What is money? Why does inflation occur? Why does a recession occur? How do you recover from a recession? These are the basic questions that no one dares to ask. We are all supposed to know the answers to these, but most people don't. I found a really smart 10-year-old who isn't shy to ask these questions. Maybe our conversation will help you.
What is money? I mean, I know you pay money to buy stuff, but what is it really?
Well, money is like a special ticket that everyone agrees has value. Without money, if you wanted to get a toy car from someone, you'd have to give them something you own in exchange. It would have to be something you are ready to give away, but also something that the other person desires. Say you have a cool toy plane that you don't want to give away, and you also have a toy train that the other person doesn't want. It would be very hard to trade like this, and money makes this easier. Everyone agrees upon the value of money, and the seller has set a price for the toy car. In other words, he would exchange the car for a set amount of money, and with that money, he can buy himself whatever it is he desires. So now, when you want a toy car, your parents must decide whether the car is worth the amount of money that the seller wants in exchange. Your parents had to work hard to earn this money, and they have a limited amount of it. But a toy car also holds value. It would not only please their kid, but will also help develop his imagination and motor skills. If your parents decide that the toy car is worth more than the amount of money it costs, they will exchange the money for the car.
Okay, but where does the money come from?
Great question. We humans live in large societies. To organize this society, we elect a government. The government makes rules which we all must follow. The government consists of different departments that are in charge of different issues. For example, a municipal department takes care of roads and water supply, and the fire department helps when there is an accident. Similarly, a special department known as the central bank is responsible for creating and regulating the supply of money. They decide what the money looks like, and they make it in a way so that it is not possible for anyone to create fake money.
Hmm, but why don't they just create lots of money and give it to everyone so they can all get whatever they want?
Another great question. Anything you buy in the store, say a tomato, takes a lot of effort to produce. A farmer had to till the farm, sow the seeds, water it, and wait for months for it to grow. A distributor had to fetch it from the farmer and distribute it to different places. Your local store owner got the tomato from the distributor and put it in a store for you to buy it. We cannot have unlimited tomatoes because it takes a lot of resources, time, and effort to grow and sell tomatoes. But everyone wants tomatoes, and if they had a lot of money, they would be ready to pay any price for it. This will make the price of tomatoes skyrocket. In fact, this will happen with every product in the store. This is called inflation. So, even if everyone had a lot of money, everyone won't be able to get whatever they want because everything will become more and more expensive.
So, that means some people can't have tomatoes because they don't have enough money.
That's right, kid. Everyone can't have everything they want, and we must value what we have. Also, we should be aware that it takes a lot of hard work to earn the money, and we should spend it wisely.
But wait, what if someone can't work because they are ill or too old? How will they survive?
Hmm. Well, governments have programs to help the people that are unfortunate. These programs are called welfare programs. For example, the government provides free health care to those who are sick and pensions to those who are too old to work. They also provide free education to kids so that they can learn skills and grow up to find ways to earn money.
Okay, and where does the government get the money from?
The government collects taxes from the citizens. Everyone who earns money must pay a portion of their money to the government. The government uses this money to provide the services we discussed before, but also to pay for these welfare programs. However, in practice, the governments often end up spending more money than they get in taxes for things like building infrastructure, which is expensive to build today, but critical to ensure that the country continues to grow. Also, for example, when the COVID virus spread, a lot of people could not go to work anymore. So the government had to distribute money to these people so they can survive. The government also had to pay for the vaccines for everyone so that they can control the spread of the virus.
And where does that extra money come from?
Isn't it bedtime yet? Well, okay. So when the government needs more money, they must borrow it from someone else. To do this, the government creates something called bonds. A bond is a promise that the government will pay back the price of the bond along with an interest in a fixed duration of time. The government sells these bonds to anyone who wants to buy them. Now, if the government needs a lot of money, they must sell a lot of bonds. There may not be so many people interested in buying these bonds, and the price of the bonds may fall. To prevent this, in some cases, the central bank simply creates new money and buys the bond directly from the government. But also, the central bank should not print too much money, otherwise, prices of things will go up, like we discussed before. In fact, the prices of things did go up a lot during the COVID crisis.
Okay. Is that why we take fewer vacations and buy fewer stuff lately?
Smart kid, that's exactly right. When prices of things go up, people cannot afford a lot of things. They must stop spending on things that can be avoided. But that causes another problem. You see, it is important for the money in an economy to keep circulating. When I buy toys from the store, the toy store owner gets money which he can use to buy groceries. The grocery store owner then uses the money to buy other stuff he needs, and so on. Now, if everyone spends less money, the circulation of money slows down and everyone gets even lesser money to spend. This becomes a dangerous cycle and leads to a situation known as a recession.
And how do you get out of a recession?
To get out of a recession, the governments must promote people to start spending more money. The people will spend more money if they have more money. The government has a few different ways to ensure that people have more money to spend. They can reduce taxes, but remember, the government must pay for all the services we need and also pay the interest rate on the money it owes. The government can also reduce its expenses by reducing the services it offers. But when the government builds fewer roads, then people who were involved in building roads run out of jobs, and that doesn't help. The government can also reduce the waste of money by making its departments more efficient, but this takes time and doesn't always work. On the contrary, the government can even consider increasing its expenditure. By investing more in infrastructure, for example, it can give a boost to the industry and create more jobs, which would increase the demand. But for this, the government would have to borrow even more money. Well, there is one more thing the government, or precisely the central bank, can do.
And what is that?
See, the money I earn from my job goes into a commercial bank. After we spend some of it on our regular expenses, the remaining money gets saved in the bank. Now, when someone else needs money to buy a house or start a business, they go to the bank to borrow money. The bank takes some of the money that is deposited and loans it to the borrower. The borrower promises to return this money in small monthly payments, along with some interest. This is how the banks make money. But the banks must hold on to a part of the deposits at all times, so that when I need my money, I can still get it from the bank. The central banks decide what percentage of deposits the commercial banks must hold. When the interest rate is high, fewer people want to take loans. When the interest rate is lower, more people are tempted to take loans to start businesses or buy expensive things. So, to motivate people to spend more money, the central bank can force the commercial banks to lower the interest rates on loans. But there are some complications here too. When the interest rates are low, commercial banks won't be happy because now they earn less money. To cover for this loss, the central banks reduce the amount of money the banks must hold. However, this increases the risk of bank failure. In addition to this, the central bank can once again create more money and lend it to the commercial banks to distribute as loans to the people.
Wait. This problem was caused by printing money but will be solved by printing more money.
You are a really smart kid. Yes, or at least that is the hope. The expectation is that once people start spending more money, the circulation of money will resume and everyone will have more money to spend. Over time, the economy will prosper again. In the meantime, the government will be able to pay back their debt and fix their budget deficit, and everyone will live happily ever after.
Hmm. But will it work, really?
I sure hope it does, kid. I sure hope it does.